Ah, yes.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of What Drives You. My name is Stan Windhorn. I'm one of your co-hosts. I believe this is episode number 70, and we've got a very special guest with us today. I've known this gentleman since back in college, and we've had some pretty interesting experiences that we'll discuss about those. But first, I want to say hi to my co-host, Carl Bauer. Carl, how are we doing today, man?
Hello, everybody. I'm excited. I'm with two professionals, and I am just a young amateur in this interview business. But Bill, there is a very interesting story that I heard that I want to see if it's true or not because it's pretty hard to believe. So,
Yeah. Well, we'll start with that. But first, let's welcome our guest today, the infamous Bill Dwyer. Bill, welcome and thanks for joining us on What Drives You.
Wait, infamous. Wait, why? Wait, nothing. Nobody knows about anything that I've done that's infamous. I keep that. You know how I play close to the vest, Stan.
I,
All my
I, I,
infamous stuff is within me. Yes.
well, I was juggling between infamous and nearly famous.
Yeah, that's probably better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Infamous. Yeah. Infamous, especially now. It makes me sound pretty awful. But
Well,
thanks for having me. I think it's great that we are doing this and that we still are pals after
yeah,
after 30, let's see,
yeah.
almost
Oh,
40 years now. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I forget, were you a radio and television major too, or
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we had classes together, but we really bonded in the theater department. And
Yeah.
Carl, Bill and I were cast. It was a four-person play. Bill and I both got lead roles in a really cool play called The Wager,
Yeah, written
where,
by Mark Medoff, who also did Children of a Lesser God and When You Coming
oh, I
Back
didn't know
Red.
that.
Yeah, When You Coming Back Red Rider. No, he's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
it was a great play. I played a guy named Ward. I was this like studly graduate student who was in graduate school for physical education. And Bill played Leeds, who was the intellectual character. Do I got that right?
Yeah, if you can believe that, yeah. And also our old pal Dennis Moran was
Yes.
Ron, our next door neighbor, and Bridget. What was her last name? Stan
Bridget Corrigan.
Corrigan. That's right,
Uh, and
Bridget
by the way,
Corrigan.
Carl, Bill and I both had mad crushes on Bridget Corrigan because
Right, and she had yeah, she was absolutely the kindest,
yes.
funniest person, and so easy to have a crush on, and had
Yep.
it would have nothing to do with either of us.
All right. Well, there's the story that I told Carl, and I've told this story many times, Bill. In fact, the last time I told this story publicly is you were on the Dudley and Bob show here in Austin, Texas,
All
the
right,
morning
and you
radio show.
that's right,
Because
and you called in.
yeah, you were headlining in at the Cap City Comedy Club here,
Yeah.
and part of your career that we'll cover, which is stand-up comedy. But yeah, I called up Dudley and Bob. I said, "Yeah, your guest that you got on there shot me in the face one time with a starter pistol."
uh yeah,
All right.
we should probably do a Seven Samurai and talk about both sides of that story. But yeah, I mean, you are very lucky that you are still here, literally alive today.
Yes. Well,
Because
I've told the story from my side many times, but I thought about it today and I'm like, I'd like to hear from Bill what your recollection of the famous shoot me in the face with a starter pistol thing. By the way, Carl, just so you know, this is the opening scene of the play and I'm pretty much wearing nothing but underwear. So I just wanted to
was it really the opening scene of the play?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I can't remember. I need to read the play again. I did my research last night, and I was just, looking up the wager. But I want to make a bet. You want to make a bet, Leeds? I think was the opening line of the play.
Well,
Uh,
actually, if I can say the opening line, because I was telling this story to a friend of mine, because my mom came to the show, and the opening lines was Leeds, Leeds. I'm bothering his character, and I said, I will bet you $200 that I can F, and I didn't say F, honor Stevens within like 3 days. And I'm
or
thinking about me standing there in my underwear with my mother in the audience.
Isn't that something? It's
Yes,
so funny that, like, just aside from that, the way we feel about our parents, having them, you always want to please them, no matter how old you are.
sure.
You always want to please your parents. And I think even no matter what your relationship is with your parents, even if you hate them, you still would like to please them. You
And
might
get their
say,
approval.
yeah, I don't care what they think, but you do. Because they're that, no matter what, even if they're awful people, you still want to please them. Look at the
Yes.
Menendez brothers, tennis lessons. They kept taking tennis. You think they love that sport? No, it's because their parents wanted them to do that.
Oh my God. You're cracking me up
So,
again. I'm right back in college right now, man. You're still cracking me up. All right, so I've already given the punchline, if you will, that you shot me in the face pretty much point blank range.
right. Yeah,
But
part of
how
that
do you
play.
remember how that came about and how it happened? Because
I
obviously it
can't,
was an accident.
right. I can't remember what happens in that play that Leeds is supposed to. He pulls a gun on you,
Right?
right? On his
Yes.
on Ward, and then the gun is supposed to click, right? Like there's nothing in there.
All right. Well, I'll refresh your memory. So in the play, Ward's annoying Leeds, and Leeds pulls a gun on him, and Ward's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. What are you going to do about it?" And then my character has a basketball that he's annoying him with too, and he puts it into a trunk, and as he bends down, Leeds fires the gun, and the gun is supposed to go bang. And then later, a few seconds or minutes later in the play, he's got Ward down on the couch with the gun pointed at his face, and then it's supposed to go click.
Right. And here's right, right. So there's supposed to be one round in the gun, you
Right.
know? So I remember when we were rehearsing, when we got to this point, dress rehearsal, they said, let's put another let's put a round in the chamber.
Right.
Let's leave a chamber empty, and let's put another round in there just in case the one round doesn't fire. You can go through and get to the round that works.
Yeah.
So the first round fired, and then I think what happened was I must have clicked the gun or something, so it went past that empty chamber to the
Hmm.
chamber. Nobody who was taking care of things. These are college students. It was directed by a college student, by David. What was David's last name?
Oh
David Nave.
gosh. Was
Was
it
it?
David?
Wasn't it?
Um, I don't know. He
And
was a super funny guy.
he's a brilliant actor too. He still does
Yeah,
Shakespeare. Yeah,
yeah.
he's a
Oh man, I wish I could remember his name. I'll have to look it up, but
yeah. I know. I thought I was looking him up last night on Facebook, and I thought it was David Nave, but I think I was wrong because I
maybe.
only I only have another Nave in my Facebook. Not that I barely use Facebook anymore. Anyway, so right, I click past, and now the gun has a loaded blank in the chamber, which I think people should remember. That's how Bruce Lee's kid died, right in the
Yeah. There
throat.
was another famous actor that was messing around like that and playing Russian roulette with a blank gun and killed himself many years ago.
Yeah,
Accidentally. Yeah.
right. So then I shoot. I don't know how you weren't scarred, you weren't injured. I don't know what was going on with these blanks, but did I point it at your face or at the side of your head?
Well, so far our recollection is very similar. So, Carl, before this, we would go through rehearsals, but Bill would use his finger and go bang and then go click. So this is the first time dress rehearsal where he actually had the pistol in his hand.
Right.
And Bill got it exactly right. The prop master or whatever it was, probably some drunk freshman, he put the cartridge in and then left one blank and then another cartridge in case it didn't go off the first time. He'd go click, click, and no matter what, there was supposed to be an empty one when he points it at my face.
Woo.
And I don't know what it was, Bill, but maybe it was just because the first time we actually had a gun, but I knew just before it went off, I just knew it was going to go off. And you know, you were probably this far from the side of my face. And
Yeah.
so I kind of turned, and man, it just sprayed me with gunpowder, and my ears were ringing. They had to stop the whole production. But I'm curious,
Wow.
what were your immediate thoughts when that happened?
I mean, I thought that I thought, I thought I'd seriously injured you. I couldn't believe it went off. I can't believe I didn't drop the gun. I don't think I did. But
Yeah,
that was luckily it was a rehearsal. So we
yeah.
still had a we still had a day or two before the real show. Yeah,
I
I thought
only had to stare down that barrel of gun, like 9 more times throughout the course of the week.
I'm telling you, man, talk about frightening.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Yeah, I probably thought that I had seriously hurt you or killed you at that time. But
I
yeah, I
mean, it didn't
remember
tickle. It
I
rang
I,
my bell, but
I felt
you
like
know,
you did like move away from it
a little bit.
and that really helped you not get
Yeah,
seriously injured, not get scarred, maybe a
yeah.
little burnt, I don't know.
It
But
rang my bell, and my ear was ringing a little bit, but it wasn't near as tragic as a lot of accidents with guns happen in the wonderful world of entertainment. But it's been such a fun story for me to tell over the years that I'm
yeah,
kind of glad it happened. And Carl,
and
I don't know
it's
if I've ever shared with you the picture, but in the local paper, the review, the picture is of that. I'm sitting there on this couch in my underwear, and Bill's got the gun pointed at me, and that was what made the review. We got good reviews, though. Remember
Yeah, I
that?
think we did. I was very proud. I don't know if I was good in that, but I kind of felt like I had taken some steps as an actor in that play. I felt like I had,
Well,
it was so well written too.
yeah.
One
My
of the
favorite part, certainly in college, and I'm not saying this just because you're our guest today, but I thought you nailed leads, and I thought you did a great job. So,
and
anyway,
we were only slightly too young because everybody in that play was a graduate student.
yeah,
And we were, 22 at the time. That almost could have been us.
yeah,
So, yeah,
that
it
was
was
good.
real, I
Well,
know
let's.
it's and Bridget Corrigan, even though you got shot in the face, still she had nothing to do with you. She would have
I
nothing
know,
to
man. You think I couldn't? You don't think I could have got
sympathy.
a little sympathy at least?
Yeah, something, something. She didn't even come over with a cold compress. Nothing.
Nothing. Well, that kind of fit with her character
Yeah.
as well. But
Man, the
well,
the
listen.
the women you fall in love with. I'm telling you.
Yes, I've
Yeah.
always have a crush on Bridget. Bridget, if you're listening, call me. Uh, all right. So after college, the next time I became aware of what was going on with you is I had moved out to California. You were already there. And somehow I got word that you were doing the Universal Studios tours.
Is
Do I
that
have that
where
right? You were the
is
guide?
that right? You came
Yeah.
out and now was I a tour guide? I mean, obviously I was a tour guide, or was I doing one of the shows?
I don't
Uh,
know. I never saw you perform there, but somehow I had heard, or maybe I had called you and we talked on the phone, but I think at that time you were doing the Universal tour.
right. See, now that is just one of the innocence of youth. Like, I graduate from college and a buddy wants to go to California, and I want to go to California. I want to go to Los Angeles. I want to
Yeah.
be in show business, but we know nothing. We just decide to drive out to LA, and all I'm thinking is, I want to be in show business, and the way to get into show business is to go to Universal Studios and be a tour guide. I for That was it for me. That was like I'm on the basement level. Here I go, and I'm excited, right? Like I make we get in town, and I make the calls, and I find out that nothing's happening until the busy season, which is Christmas, and it's September. So you're right, I got to find a job, and I get my job at Kinney's selling shoes, and but the whole time I'm just waiting, for the auditions, and
Yeah.
I passed, and I just felt like, okay, here I go. This is it, baby. I'm a tour guide, and you'd hear
Yeah.
all these stories from tour guides. Like, oh, this guy used to work here, and he would go down to the lower lot, and just, talk to people at production companies. And now he's working in the mailroom. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's show business, man. Yeah. But I like all the things, like everything you do. I went to Southern Illinois University to be a disc jockey, not
Yeah.
knowing that you don't need an education to be a disc jockey. In fact, you shouldn't have an education because you need to talk nonsense about everything that you don't know about. I found
There
that
you
out
go.
living with a couple of disc jockeys. And then I became a disc jockey, and I'd be sitting in the room. I worked at the student radio station first, WIDB,
Uh-huh.
and it was great, right? That's kind of where I finally figured out what good music was, because it was great alt rock. We had a great Ken Krause, who's a great music director. But I would sit in there, my 4-hour shift, when you first get there, you're working 2 to 6 in the morning. And I nobody was hardly anybody was listening. Nobody would call in. I was all by myself. I was like, okay, is this really what I want to do? Nobody's around.
Hey,
Nothing's
but
happening.
as far as you know, you were sensational.
I thought I was, yeah. One time I was playing, record companies would send albums, and there was a band called Rubber Rodeo. I don't know what happened to them, but we were playing one of their songs, and it was on a big LP, right?
Yeah.
33 and a third. But for some reason, yet you were supposed to play it at 45 like a single. So I put it on, I'm playing it, and I was like, this is okay, I'm playing it at the wrong speed. And that was like one of the few calls I got. Like somebody calls me up and goes, "It's a 45, you idiot. You're playing it at the wrong speed." And I was like, and I pick up the phone, IDB, and
Yeah.
playing it at the
Hey,
wrong
look, everybody,
speed.
we've got a caller.
Yeah. And I couldn't even say that because the record was playing. I couldn't even say, we got a caller. So we just go, "You're playing it at the wrong speed, you idiot. It's 45. Oh, okay." He hangs up.
Too
Doesn't
funny.
he, doesn't even say you're welcome. I can't even give him a thank you. He hangs up. He probably slammed the phone down. So instead of starting it all over, I just click it to 45 and play the rubber. The only time I played the Rubber Rodeo album song, I feel like I should look them up. Anyway.
I am absolutely going to look that up now. And in your honor, I'm going to try and listen to it faster than it's supposed to be. But listen,
So
that
yeah,
was your
I'm
start in
sorry. Go
show
ahead.
business, right?
Yeah. I don't know, right?
Universal.
I think we want to kind of go through how I got to where I am, but
I do.
it's this. It's
Oh,
this.
yeah, of course. Well, I'll give you my recollections and then you can fill in the blanks. So obviously, you've been a stand-up comedian for a long time. In fact, the times where we've got to see each other face to face is when you headline here in Austin, Texas.
Right. And
Uh,
one of the greatest clubs in the world. Yes.
yeah, well, it's moved venues. Have you been there since it moved to the Domain?
No, I
Okay.
haven't. No. And how is it? Is it good? Is it still great?
Yeah, it's a nice facility and they run it really well. In fact, Carl and I, was it 2 weeks ago, Carl? We actually first time went down to Joe Rogan's place in downtown Austin. You need to come down and perform there. They've got that place. It is tight, man. It's really a great venue. So you need to book with Joe.
He books the big names, and I've got a couple of Joe Rogan stories, so I don't think I'll ever get booked there.
Well, I don't know. Some of them we got to see Ron White there, who's a big name, but the other
Well,
ones I didn't recognize. So, but
yeah,
Ron
Ron is spectacular. I sold a joke to Ron White.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
can you tell us?
sure, yeah. My good friend was writing for him, because Ron is just constantly, he does so many specials. He's always got like
New
if you're
material.
in a band, people want to hear songs that they know. If you're a
Yeah,
comedian, they want to hear new stuff.
right.
And it's got to be great. That's the difference. And that's
Yeah.
why comedians always want to be rock and rollers, and rock and rollers always want to be comedians.
Uh,
The grass is always greener. So yeah, I used to do a joke, and he actually made it better. but I did a joke where I would say, I'm good at, and it's quick. I'd say, I'm good at sex. I always come. So right there, batting 1,000.
Yeah.
I don't know, my lady, maybe about 250, 285. I'm not sure. Maybe she's more toward the Mendoza line. I don't know. But he took that joke and just like added a bunch of stuff to it, and it's just great.
That wasn't too far off to what he was doing when we saw him, actually.
Yeah,
Very kind of right along that same path. So I
he
can see
might have
why
been he might have been doing that joke. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Carl, does that one sound, that sounds a little
He,
bit like what Ron White was doing along those lines. So,
I
yeah,
mean,
he was good. I, Bill, it's funny because well, that's my, I think, second live comedy show. And Stan was like, there's no way we're getting tickets. And I just went online and we stumbled on them. But to see those rapid fire, I have to say for anybody that does that, man, I mean, you got to have big, big, big courage. I was going to use a different word, but you got to be brave. I mean, just stand up there and just fire from the hip. And a couple of them, you could tell were trying new material. There was a girl there that was kind of, a different, and she didn't really get the reaction that I thought. She had a couple good jokes, but I mean, the bravery and that you got to have to do that, and then for you to entertain, every night with the BattleBots, it just, hero is probably a strong word, but it's so impressive to see you get up and do that and put yourself out there. And that's kind of what Stan and I are learning on this podcast is, hey, we've been talking about it for a long time. I specifically, and I said, Stan, January 1st, we're going to do this. And, here we are 70 episodes in, but nothing like what you do on a night to night basis. So
oh,
keep
well,
it up.
I mean, if it's what you want to do and it's what you love, and then you've hooked into it, and you find that people enjoy it. That's the thing. I mean, if you're doing it and you think you're doing well, but no one enjoys it, well, you're not doing well. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Well, it's the journey. I mean, we just love hearing the journey of people's, and that's why we came up with the name of What Drives You. Originally, it was going to be about cars, and now it's like this much about cars and more just about life. And
Oh yeah.
to see you two guys go from like Southern Illinois hillbillies to
Hey,
LA and then sorry, LA and then Vegas and then full-time entertainment. I mean, that's impressive. So
It's funny. Southern Illinois had its share of Illinois has Chicago, and then it's got this entire central area that's farming, and it's very, very rural, and at Southern you get a mix of both those people. And I had so many friends who are from the rural parts of Illinois, and it's just like a different life. Like I remember going to someone's hometown, and we went to a party, and we're down there, and it's packed with people, and my friend is just like, yeah, that guy over there, he was married to her, and she had a kid with him, and now she's married to him, and he married her after he was married to her sister, and everybody's like 22. I was like, what is going on? How are you guys so mature? Well, there's nothing to do. There's
yeah,
nothing to do
yeah.
but fuck. That's it, and that's all
yeah.
they do.
Well, and the party was probably like in a clearing of a cornfield or something. That's where we threw our parties out
Yeah,
there.
this one wasn't, but there were plenty of those, and certainly
Yes.
plenty of those at Southern. Yeah, yeah,
Well, Southern Illinois is different than the rest of the state, and it is absolutely gorgeous place. In fact, when I go back, Bill, and it's been a long time, but last time I went through Giant City State Park,
yeah.
I just like, oh my gosh, this place is spectacular. I mean, you could do that would be a Robin Hood movie, a Game of Thrones, Jurassic Park. It's really an exceptionally beautiful part of the country.
Last time I was in Southern Illinois was for the eclipse last year. For
Oh,
for some reason,
Oh,
Southern got the eclipse in 2019 and then got it again in 2024. So I was in Buncombe, which is about 20 miles outside of Carbondale, and we got the full, the full eclipse for 4 minutes, and it was crazy.
yes.
Oh, I mean, it was, and yeah, and again, just the most fast. What I think is that, I think that people can't afford to buy houses right now, the younger generation. And I
Yeah.
think places like Buncombe is where they're going to buy a plot of land and they're going to build a house and they're going to do what my parents did. They're going to make their own suburbs and they're going to start their own businesses. They're going to make their own opportunities. At least that's what I hope. Because right now they are screwed, man. Like we've overbuilt. You can't buy a house. My daughter's family just moved to Mexico. They've built a house there and they love it. So yeah. That has nothing to do.
Let's get back to the career for just a second.
Right. I just want people to know that I'm not a racist anti-vaxxer, even though that's what I look like. I just want people to know that.
All right. So obviously I know about your stand-up comedy career. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you had some pretty good parts in a couple of movies too. Why does like a ski movie come to mind? Am I way off base?
Again, one of those things where you do it and you're like, this is it, baby. This is it.
Big time.
I have launched myself. Once again, it's just one of those things where you just keep working. I was a stand-up comic and I was getting some gigs. I'd been on TV a couple times in a couple shows, an MTV show, I think Caroline's Comedy Hour. And, I went on auditions and, this was for Ski School 2 because there was a lot of unanswered questions from Ski School. And I don't know. I got the part. I think one of the things, especially with a part like this, which is just a goofy character, it's kind of like they want a guy that, they're going to have fun with on set for whatever, 3 or 4 weeks,
Yeah.
We're going to enjoy working with this guy. So, I was working at the time. I actually had a regular day job. That was one of the great things about stand-up comedy. Plus I had 2 kids at the time. One of my second kid had just been born. and we bought a house. So there's all this shit going on. So I get the part and I tell my boss at my point of sale, peripheral, company, I go, I need to take a couple of weeks off because I'm shooting this movie up in Vancouver. And she says, well, I can't help you. You can't work here anymore then. Yeah. So I had to quit and, we had just bought the house. So again, my wife at the time, we have split since then. But I just remember women can be funny. They're just like, they'll go right to the worst part and they'll make it good. She'd be like, well, if everything goes to shit, we can always sell the house and move back to Chicago. It's like, okay, but wait, but wait, it's not going to be like that. But you get a movie like this and you spend 3 weeks and by the way, great cast. Dean Cameron from, Summer School was in this, Ski School 1, a great actor, still working. Will Sasso, who went on to Mad TV and all sorts of different roles, is on the new Young Sheldon spinoff. But, and the movie itself was absolutely average, but we had a great time doing it. Yeah. But, you just think, okay, here we go. I'm doing this movie, now we're rolling. And everyone's going to hear about it. And eventually I was able to go back to work.
All right, let me just go over a couple other my memories. So far, I've been doing pretty good on the Bill Dwyer career.
Yes, you have. I hope I've been good. If not, we can always edit this. You can always edit this down to an entertaining 4 minutes.
No, we do not edit here on What Drives You, so we're going to have to just power through this. But now, was there a game show hosting job or two? And I also remember something where you maybe were pretending to be a game show host with Brett Michael from Poison.
Well, yeah, that was an episode of Rock of Love.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But like ever since, like I became like from college on, and part of the, going to California was thinking I'm going to be a game show host, because game shows were huge then, you know.
Yeah.
Every day you had a 3-hour block of game shows, you know, on
Yeah.
every network. Back when you had 3 networks, it was almost all game shows all morning. So I just thought, I'm going to be a game show host. And then as my career went along, I was like, I guess I'm not going to be a game show host. And then I got to be a game show host on Fox Sports Network, which is what it used to be. It was like, it was Fox Sports. Anyway, they had regional networks, and this was a show that was for all the networks, and it was called Ultimate Fan League. So it was a sports show, and it was, and it was funny, and it went 1 season. And again, it's one of those things like, okay, second season, let's do this. And then, you know, there was no second season.
All right. And so what did Brett Michaels' team reach out to you to do that part for Rock of Love?
Yeah. I think I'm not sure if I even had to audition for that. I'm trying to think of who the producers were, but yeah, they needed the girls were doing a game show and they did it at like a VFW hall. So they had a lot of old veterans there, you know, a lot of guys who actually served in World War II and the Korean War, right?
Yeah.
Older guys. And the girls had to do a game show, and they dressed me up in a tuxedo. And of course, at the end of it, off camera, you know, Brett grabbed his guitar and sang "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" for the veterans. And I think they were like, okay, all right, that's fine.
Who is this guy?
Fine. We've seen
All
the
right.
young ladies. That's the best part of this show. But okay, we'll listen to this. We'll listen to this young fella. Yeah. But also, here's a kind of at least an interesting thing. One of those girls got her own show, right? A spinoff.
Yeah.
And it was called Megan Meets a Millionaire, or Megan Needs a Millionaire. One of the girls, Megan, wanted to marry a millionaire. So they had all these guys. They brought me in again to host a game show. And it never aired because one of those guys ended up murdering his girlfriend. And yeah.
That's not good for ratings.
And I met him. Like I almost met a president, but I've met a murderer. Wow.
All right. So how did Battlebots come about? I mean, I know a little bit of this just because I saw the same special.
By the way, I'm doing. Is that backwards or is that's?
No, that looks great,
Sean.
Yeah, I'm just doing a little, you know, promo for the live show here in Vegas.
Yeah, so let me fill the audience in real quick. So Bill's current gig, well, he had a gig on the TV show. It was Comedy Central Battlebots, which I don't know how I got sucked into watching that show. Not that didn't come out right, but that's not normally the kind of thing that I would be, you know, like that. But man, once you kind of start watching it, it's like, this is pretty freaking cool. And these guys are smart, man. They come up with these. It's got a lot of unusual kind of things that someone who's just trying to think of a show, how do you come up with this deal? But how did you get cast in the show?
You know what? I mean, I wish there was a better story, but it's just an audition process. I remember they wanted a funny guy along with kind of a sports guy. So like every comedian worth his salt was like auditioning for this show. And I just kind of got it right away, you know. I mean, I like sports, you know. I've listened to broadcasters my whole life. So I kind of got it and was able to, you know, make it funny right away. And then they teamed me up with Sean Salisbury, who is just one of the weirdest people in the world, and it just really seemed to work.
It worked, yeah.
Yeah.
So
but isn't that funny that was Comedy Central's biggest show for a couple of seasons. I mean, we followed South Park, and we got a bigger rating after a while than South Park, which is just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. I know.
So how long did that run on Comedy Central?
It was 5 seasons.
That's pretty good.
So each season was about 20 episodes. So yeah. So we did over the course of 3 years, we did 5 seasons.
That's excellent. I mean, not many shows ever make it that far, so that says a lot about the whole thing.
I know. I've had some weird shows that like I did Extreme Dodgeball like after that, and somehow that ran 3 seasons on Game Show Network. Three seasons.
3 seasons of Extreme Dodgeball. Love it.
Extreme Dodgeball. Yes.
So
And
now you're currently the host of Battlebots in Las Vegas. People can
yeah,
actually go and see this live. So I've got a couple of questions about that, but how did that transpire, and how are you liking that gig?
well, I remember those guys. They'd been shooting the television show for Discovery Channel, which I wasn't involved with. Kenny Florian and Chris Rose were the hosts of that show. And then they wanted a new warm-up guy. They wanted a new guy, and they thought Bil Dwyer's funny. He has connections with the old show. Why don't we bring him in? People might really dig that. So I went and I would warm up this giant, it's the Battlebots arena. So
Yeah.
there'd be 800 people in there, and I would, run around like an idiot and, keep them pumped up, and had a great time doing it. And then they thought, well, we've got this arena, we've got the box built, we're not going anywhere because we have a contract with Caesars. Let's do a live show. Can we get Bil Dwyer? And sure enough, you could.
Look at that. So
Yeah. So it's been a ball. It's BattleBots Destructathon live Wednesday through Sunday, just about every week. Every week it's Wednesday through Sunday, just about. Yeah.
Well, next time I'm in Vegas, I am definitely gonna come and check it out. But
Yeah.
so here's my question about it: is from watching the show, I mean, these bots go into these battles and they get they knock the crap out of each other.
Right.
And so I'm
Right.
thinking, okay, well, in a show, these guys got time to go and do repairs and all that kind of stuff. But how do you keep enough battle bots battle ready to be able to do live shows Wednesday through Sunday?
Right. It's a great question. I mean, besides having a big engineering crew that works their asses off, we usually have 5 bots, 5 identical bots for each bot.
Okay.
So that way one gets beat up, they can work on him and bring in the other one for Thursday show or Friday show. Sometimes they have to cannibalize one bot, to make sure the other bots are working, that sort of thing.
So they're stunt bots.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically, but they're all
thunk it?
equal. Yeah, it's not just Tom Cruise and a guy who looks like, well, Tom Cruise does his own stunts. So it's not just Matt Damon and a guy who looks like Matt Damon. It's like, 5 identical Matt Damons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's like the General Lee on Dukes of Hazzard. They had like 20 of those, right?
Is that
Identical
right?
card.
Of
Yeah.
course they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I ever watched a whole episode of that, even with Catherine Bach, who was one of the sexiest things on TV. Like some shows,
Yes.
you just go, this just isn't worth it. I can't.
I'm
And
the
then
same way on that one.
I think
She was worth it.
I worked with John Schneider once for a week on Hot in Cleveland. He came in as Valerie Bertinelli's boyfriend, and just the most charming guy. Just really, really, just super engaging. Unfortunately, now I think he's a Trumper, and it's like, oh, come on, man. I liked you so much, and now you're being an idiot. But yeah,
Well,
it was yeah.
let me ask you this question. I think Carl and I may have talked about this we've talked about it in person, but maybe on What Drives You or Not. But I've been, how it is when you're in LA and you're in the entertainment business, you get to meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
And in my experience, almost everybody that I've ever met that would be considered a celebrity, they're just people, and they're typically very nice. There's been a few exceptions with the kind of diva attitude, but what's been your experience? You've had a chance to work with a lot of people.
I worked at the Improv as a host and doorman, during the comedy boom in like the mid and late 80s. So we had everybody coming in. Bruce Willis was almost a nightly visitor at the Improv, and we just had stars coming in night after night, and almost to a person. They were all just really kind, and they were just coming in to have a great time, and
Yeah.
they always did. I don't remember anybody ever like being a dick to us at all.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody was, we'd be the first, we'd be outside. I call myself a doorman, even though I wasn't muscle. I would just say, "You have your tickets, folks," that kind of thing. And when I say I was a host, I stood in front of a velvet rope, "Can I help you?" That kind of thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
Later on, I became an MC, but everybody was just like super kind to us. We were the first ones they meet. "Hey, fellas, how you doing? Yeah, come on in." Jay Leno, everybody, all the comics are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I
Well,
think you're
let
right.
me
They
ask you
are. They're
this
just
question.
people.
You mentioned Bruce Willis. And
Yeah.
I think I may have even said this to Carl and if it wasn't you, Carl, then somebody recently when I was talking about having Bill on the show. But your energy and your style and everything has always reminded me of Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Just kind of the way his persona and everything. Has anybody ever made that comparison to you before? Or is it just me?
No, no, no. When Moonlighting came on the air,
Yeah.
people were saying that a lot. Like, "Yeah,
Okay.
you remind me of Bruce Willis. You remind me of Bruce Willis."
All right.
And
So it wasn't just me.
I think I was way more cynical. Like, I think when you start out as a stand-up, you're kind of, you're sarcastic, you're cynical. Like, I don't know, a year or two ago, I looked at an old headlining set of mine. I was like, why the fuck why am I so cynical? What is going on? I was like, what an awful person I am. Just, the people you make fun of and all that. But yeah, I used to get a lot of yeah, you remind me of Bruce Willis. Yeah. And then
All
the
right.
poor guy now, golly gosh, he's unable to
It's
speak.
sad.
Yeah.
It's sad.
I wasn't aware of that.
Bill, on the show, Bill, we call that mockery. And on our channel here, and Stan often accuses me of mockery. So we can totally relate. Hey, I hate to cut this short. I have to jump on a flight. So this is
Okay.
definitely going to require a episode 2. We'll do ski school or we'll do what drives you to in the coming weeks. I'm actually gonna be in Vegas in mid-September. There's a big RV show and then a Mecum auto auction. So I'm gonna be there. So I'm definitely gonna try and connect with you and get Stan out there that same week if possible.
Oh,
But
that'd be great.
I don't know.
When's the big show?
I don't know
When's that show?
It's mid the 18th or something of September. So we'll give you
okay,
plenty
great.
of heads up. Couple
great.
weeks
All right.
though. It's not far
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to be really respectful of Bill's time. So let's go through our normal questions real quick. So we'll do these fast. Bill, what was your
Hold on.
first car? Oh, what?
Go ahead. No, I was going to say skip the cards and go to words of wisdom, but fire away.
1975 Ford Granada.
Ooh.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. The lead
All right, we'll
sled,
skip.
we called it.
We'll skip the cars in lieu of time. But Bill, we always ask for everybody to give us some words of wisdom, something
Yeah.
that you wish you could go back and tell young Bill before he became so cynical.
I think a good thing to know for anybody is don't be afraid of other people's success.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you might be watching people having success around you and you might think, why not me? Why not me? Just,
Yeah.
If you're good, your time comes.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
really good.
That's a good one.
Well, Bill, maybe in a while we'll have you back because I think we got a lot more stuff we can talk about. But brother, it's so good to see you. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I think we need to get you hooked up. Either come back to Cap City or go to Joe Rogan's place. I think you'd really love doing a gig there.
I gotta head down to Austin just for the BBQ, obviously.
Yeah, there you go, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, my lake's back, so come and spend some time out on the boat. And
great. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, fellas.
Carl,
thanks,
got
Bill. Great meeting you.
Thank you,
No,
Carl.
I'm looking forward to meeting you in person in a couple weeks and watching the bots battle.
Yeah. Hopefully see you both.
All right, everybody,
thanks,
thanks
Bill.
for joining us on this edition of What Drives You. We'll see you again. Be good humans to each other.
Bye.
Take care, Bill.